Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's Alexander Hilly123 here, and it's time for a new video. And as you can see from the title, as you can see from the video in front of you, and this wonderful meme, it's time for my Dead Space Remake Impossible Difficulty commentary walkthrough today. And we started the year 2023 with my first Let's Play of the game, a blind playthrough of the remake, not the original game of course, but my first playthrough of the remake as it came out. And now we're ending the year with the remake. This is a proper walkthrough though, so just to let you guys in on the know, this is a post-commentary walkthrough. I recorded all this footage about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now I'm just narrating over it. Today is Friday the 10th of November 2023. This should take me 4 days because I'm anticipating doing 3 chapters per day. Should take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. But that's, about 8 hours altogether, ladies and gentlemen. I'm putting in the hard work for you guys. I'm putting in the hard hours. I hope you motherfuckers are appreciative. No, it's good to be back. By the way, guys, 5 minutes into this video, that's when the video will actually start. The footage of me playing, I've just put this meme at the front of the video, 5 minutes, so I can do a little waffle if you want to skip that. I'd say skip 10 minutes ahead, to be perfectly honest with you, because this game does take a little bit of time to get going. But yeah, it's going to be 1 video per chapter. There's 12 chapters in this game, that's how we're doing it. What's the difference between impossible difficulty, which you can't play through in your first playthrough, and hard difficulty? Well, impossible is just quite simply permadeath, but as far as I'm concerned, I think the ammo drops seem exactly the same as hard. Everything's the same, it's just if you die, you lose all your progress. It's pretty unimaginative, and to be honest with you, I prefer the Dead Space 2 hardcore, where you're doing things where you only get limited saves and you choose where to use those limited saves. I think it was more satisfying, quite simply, because you get to have a tactical decision in regards to how you play the game, where you actually place your saves before an insta-kill moment. This game's got a few. When you play these kind of games and it's an insta-kill difficulty, permadeath I should say, where you get insta-killed, those are the parts where you're really worried. Dead Space 2 flying through the air, Callisto Contagion was a piece of shit because they put all the insta-kill moments at the end of the chapter. So if you failed it, you have to do it all over again. Very, very cheeky indeed, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I won't be bringing that difficulty to the channel, because in that game you can't defend yourself like you can in this game. But yeah, my thoughts on the Dead Space remake, now that the game has been out nearly a year. Here are my pros of the game. I like what they did to some of the weapons. By saying some, you can probably tell not all, but yes, indeed, some of the weapons I enjoyed, what they did with them. The contact beam's still ludicrous. Well, obviously, as I play the game, talk about all this shit, but to sum up, yeah, I like what they did with some of the weapons. I do like the fact that Isaac speaks, obviously, Gunnar Wright, returning to the role. Absolutely love that guy's performance in Dead Space 2, especially. Love his performance as Isaac, as one of my gaming heroes, of course. And the game looks nice. I don't think this game looks as good as Callisto Protocol personally. But yeah, the game obviously looks nice. It does perform well. Performance mode, Xbox Series X is what we're playing here today, ladies and gentlemen. I like the backtracking, and I like the, the master override in the captain's nest. You can get all the rigs of dead people in the ship, about 6 or 7 of them. You put it into the captain's nest and you get access to higher level security doors. I don't miss the power node room doors. I never use them on the original game. I only use them on my first couple of playthroughs, because the thing is with Dead Space 1, and I've heard a few people say, especially Jigsaw Killer, one of the people that I watch on the internet play survival horror games, the first half of Dead Space original game is actually quite dull. It really is quite dull. And if you can hear fireworks in the background, ladies and gentlemen, it's bonfire night last week, and a place near to me at the weekend sets them off. This happened a few years ago when I did Dead Space 3. I did it in November. So if you hear fireworks in the background, it's not World War 3. It probably will be soon, but no, not as of yet. It's just fireworks going off. But yeah, where were we? What they did with the power node room doors. The video's going to start in a minute, guys. There's many other things that I do like about the game. Once the game starts and I can see for myself the gameplay, obviously I'll talk about it in real time. What do I not like about it? The voice acting, Hammond especially, absolutely tragic. Who the fuck was that guy who was playing Hammond? He's shocking in this game. Um, I enjoy the aspect of the lore as well. They went a bit further with the lore. Gave us more, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like the shooting mechanics. I'll be honest with you guys. It's not auto aim, but aim assist is on by default. And I'll tell you why it needs to be. The aiming with the acceleration is absolutely fucked. And I've just come off Alan Wake 2. My first playthrough. The game isn't a masterpiece like everyone's saying, but it was a very intriguing game. But one thing I will say about that game, straight out the box, the aiming works fine. It absolutely works fine. None of this vulgar weapon sway, none of this acceleration, pointing the cursor to the enemy's head automatically for you, and in the midst of doing so, actually making it harder. This game does it as well. It's trash, man. Bloody trash, and I'm sick of it in games. Alan Wake 2 didn't have that. But anyway, this is Isaac's grandma. Now, to be fair, one thing I will say, and one of the criticisms from hardcore old school fans was, the changes to certain characters. I think our boy Clark is in his mid to late 40s here, but he looks younger. But then again, Gunnar Wright does look younger, to be honest. So I'm assuming Nicole's around the same age. And in the original game, the character who plays Nicole looks much younger than someone in her 40s. I'd say she looks like she's in the bloody 20s, never mind 30s. So personally, I've not got an issue, but that is something else that people had a bit of a problem with. Kendra is now a lesbian. She might have always been, of course. And, there are gender-neutral toilets, ladies and gentlemen. Space is very progressive indeed. That kind of shit, when it's very nuanced, it doesn't bother me that much, but at the same time, if you think that these kind of things are put in games without them, like they do it on purpose for the sake of ticking boxes, we know this, but it doesn't get in the way of the game. So I don't mind. We see both sides on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to be neutral. It's hard sometimes.
Just be careful on the approach. I'm not taking any chances with CEC's pride and joy.
Apologies if you heard my guts rumbling a few minutes ago, ladies and gentlemen. I had a bit of beef stew for my tea today. It's getting wintry now, and I don't like it. Oh, there's a look at our boy Clark. Oh, yes. Look at that. Chen. You know in The Evil Within 2 how Sebastian's always going on about Lily? Well, for Hammond, it's all about Chen. A bit of man love, ladies and gentlemen, because Hammond can't get over the fact that Chen gets killed, spoilers please, and turns into a necro, and he spends half the fucking game talking about him, honestly. It's unbelievable. Yeah, the voice acting, it's not as good. The guy who plays Hammond in the original, I think his name's Peter Mensa, he was in that 300 film, and quite a few others. Really good. And he plays the role so damn good, and this guy just doesn't. Sorry, Hammond, your beautiful, shiny, bald head. You're not as good in this game, kid.
Jen, Johnson, take us in.
Sometimes in this game as well. Oh, it's going to get loud here, guys. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I'm a bit nervous. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me fine. I've done a few tests, but sometimes it's weird. I use my Verve to record my videos. Well, yeah, I'm using it now, but originally it was OBS. I save the file and everything, and then everything sounds much different than it did when I recorded everything. I don't get it, but should be alright. But when I went back to listen to my Max Payne 1 Let's Play from a few years ago, the audio of the game was way too low, but I'm not so bothered here, because that was a casual Let's Play, this is a walkthrough, so my voice needs to be louder than the game. Probably a little closer to the microphone than I should be, but ladies and gentlemen, you don't come here for the production values, let's admit it. But, One thing that I don't like about this game, gameplay-wise, is that the enemies don't stun. When you shoot them in the leg, they don't fall back like they did in the original. They keep running at you, and it's cheap, and you are going to see me take a decent amount of damage in this game, you know, from the start of the game to the end. It's not a no damage run, I don't do shit like that. It's painstaking, it's agonising, and those kind of videos are very, very, you know, good, for lack of a better word. They're very impressive, but what you don't see are the hundreds of hours where people have failed and just deleted that footage. Damn, that extinguisher though. So for me, when I do any walkthrough, you need to see the mistakes. We need to discuss the mistakes. We need to discuss whether it was my fault or not. But obviously, I do need it to be good overall. There's a mixture of good and bad in this game. I'm happy with this project overall though. But as for this game and how well it did, I think it sold about 2 to 3 million units, around about, apparently, same amount as Dead Space 2 did. And I was anticipating that. I'm pretty damn sure I spoke before release that it'd sell around about the same amount as the second game. And that's not enough for EA. So what were they thinking? What? I'm not going to say what was the point in the first place. I'm glad we got this remake. It's better than nothing. I don't prefer it to the original or 2. I prefer it to 3, definitely. But I would have preferred Dead Space 4. But the modern devs have the ideas necessary. I'm not sure they do. Which is such a shame. We need new ideas, people.
I can't reach security.
Same for the chief engineer. What is wrong with their comms?
Some of Isaac's dialogue in this game is a little bit like... That sounds a bit weird, like that then. What is wrong with their comms? Of course, Gunnar Wright's going to be older now. And then he's 12 years ago in the second game. That's how life works, ladies and gentlemen. Just in case you didn't know.
Where's the security detail?
But one thing I do prefer about this game to the original is the fact that the first 5 chapters, I'd say 4 chapters, the harder. It feels like it's less on rails. I never actually heard anyone talk about it until I heard Jigsaw Killer talk about it. I love the first game, and I used to replay it once every 6 months, but now that this has come out, it'll probably be like once a year, but the first 4 or so chapters feel quite on rails and orchestrated and not that difficult, and the second game certainly doesn't feel like that. I do prefer the second game to the first game, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen.
Engines, hull, the tramps.
Could do that kind of damage to a planet cracker.
Shit.
Power. Ventilation's up. Power to the elevators.
Hazardous anomaly detected. Quarantine activated.
Oh, another thing I don't like about this game, ladies and gentlemen. I remember watching on Twitch before the game was released, the devs, EA Motive, talking to these random, I don't know who they were, popular Twitch streamers or people who were talking as if they loved the original game. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they do love the original game. But there was this woman and she was saying, make sure you make the game darker. And I was like, do not listen to this stupid woman. Do not make the game darker. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they made the game a lot darker. And I think this game is too dark, personally. But we'll get on to that soon. Okay. Let us go. We're running. Now, Seraphim17 didn't like this, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favourite YouTubers and Twitch streamers and content creators out there on the internet. Look, the elevator is open by default. It's open by default. Interesting. Damn, son. But yeah, I'm glad Isaac has a voice. I'm sick of silent protagonists, don't get me wrong. Bioshock, Half-Life, some unbelievable games with silent protagonists, many, many, many more, but I think in the modern day, I don't want to play as a silent protagonist anymore. I'm sure I'll still play games in the future that have them, and they might be great games, but Here it is, the plasma cutter, ladies and gentlemen. I do like the reload animations in this game, and I like the fact that when you reload the clip, it kind of goes onto the floor. You can still see it. That wasn't a thing in the original, of course. It's a more compact plasma cutter like it was in the second game. Quick mapping it to the left, as they always do. Handgun or your regular weapon goes to the left. But ladies and gentlemen, let us talk about the weapon loadouts that we'll be using in this playthrough. We are going to be using the good old plasma cutter itself, the force gun, the contact beam. Backing up, you see where I'm backing up there to give myself space because I know what these motherfuckers are capable of. Yeah, the contact beam, the force gun, plasma cutter, and ladies and gentlemen, as that guy gets stomped the fuck out, and so does that guy, the corpse, we're playing with the flamethrower. Justice for the flamethrower because it's absolutely amazing in this game. And you know what? It was good in the second game. I don't think I ever really properly used it in the third game. I know what it'll be like in the third game without ever using it before. It'll be good with certain enemies, useless on others, because that's Dead Space 3 for you. But yeah, in the second game, flamethrower was pretty good. In this game, it's freaking unbelievable. And I like it a lot. I'm not a big fan of the Ripper in this game. I know some people love it. The alt fire of the Ripper, the blades can come back and hit you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, with the flamethrower, you've got to be careful of the fire hurting you, of course, especially your alt fire, the firewall. And they've changed the contact beam as well. Let me think. Yeah, the alt fire is now the blast of energy. And the primary fire is like a laser beam. The laser is not as powerful as the blast of energy. But the blast of energy can actually damage you. If you hit an enemy with it and you're close, you will take a little bit of splash damage. It's not that bad, but it is damage nevertheless. And on this difficulty, you don't want to be taking damage quickly like that. But I actually kind of appreciate the fact that they did that because the contact beam itself is insanely powerful. Just like it has been in every Dead Space game. I do still like the pulse rifles, people shit on it, but the fact of the matter is, within a few upgrades, you can give it a big clip. It's got a grenade launcher, but it's actually not a grenade launcher. It's like a mine, but it tends to act like a grenade launcher. If you shoot it on the floor, it won't go off. There are a few times when I've tried to use it in the past and it's not gone off, and it's not the game's fault, it's just the fact that it's probably been a bad shot. An enemy is not in the midst of the blast and nothing happens. But ladies and gentlemen, what did they do to my boy, the line gun? You might have seen, I'm sure hardcore Dead Space fans have. I'm gonna get hit by a few of those doors, by the way. The line gun, you can use the alt fire to shoot it on luggage and other like boxes in the game world. You can then pick the boxes up with kinesis and aim it at the enemies. It's hilarious. It's ridiculous. But you know what? The gun wasn't anticipated to be used like that, so I don't do it. And I don't like it. And I've got to say, I just don't like the alt fire at all, and the primary fire is slow, and it kind of feels like the line gun in Dead Space 3. Now, granted, I've not used it for a full playthrough, but I'm not overly keen, and anyone who's seen my Dead Space content in the past, especially 1 and 2, you'll know that I bloody love the line gun. But I love the alt fire, the timed mine, and they got rid of it, and that is a shame. One of the things that I'm not keen on with this game, to be sure.
Don't bother shooting those fuckers in the head. Doesn't even slow them down.
Okay. The only way is hacking them apart. Those arms. The legs.
Does that even kill them? Or do they just stop moving?
Find out for yourself, Hammond. Now, this room, I think initially in the original game, there was like, I want to say 3 or 4 enemies here. There's probably double. I don't know why they did that, because overall, from start to finish, I feel like this game's got the same amount of action as the original game, but they just decided to give us shitloads of enemies here for some reason. For some reason, I'm just getting a little confused. Obviously, this is footage that I recorded 3 or 4 weeks ago. I know I'm happy overall, but Oh, that is another thing, guys. I've got to say it. And now I'm watching the footage. It's all coming back to me now. You can't tell where the enemies are spawning from in this game. And you can there, to be fair, but a lot of the time, the enemies are so quiet compared to the first two games, probably the third game as well, to be fair, that you can't actually tell where they're coming from. Look at this guy. I remember in the first chapter, I was a little rusty. The gameplay is not great. I'm reloading. Taking damage there in slow-mo. So we learnt something together there. They're still very dangerous in slow-mo, and I remember getting pretty upset in this room. Because, you know, if you've watched me before, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know. if the content isn't good enough, when it's a walkthrough, that's just not going to do. But yeah, the enemies on this game, I can't explain it, but I don't know if others will agree. It's just my opinion, and I might be wrong here, but it feels that when you upgrade your weapons in this game, your damage is just kind of... You end the game not feeling more powerful than when you started, even though you've upgraded. The enemies in the original Dead Space, on hard and impossible, were tanky. But when you upgraded, you felt a big difference. Here in this game, I don't think you feel the difference. All the enemies tank a little bit more shots than they should to that. And it's a bit frustrating. Being accurate with the guns is hard in this game as well. And also, and this isn't just me, you tend to shoot off a few too many bullets than you need to kill the enemy. People noticed the shooting of the plasma cutter was a little bit... I don't know what you'd say, just not right. This game's gameplay is still a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But it commits some sins. For example, the kinesis, the TK kills, at least they're in the game, because they weren't in the original Dead Space. There's an auto aim on them, so if you actually should miss the shot, it will ensure that you quite simply don't, unless it's insanely like inaccurate, then it won't. But if, I don't know, about 6 inches away from the enemy, it'll just gravitate the claw or the spike or whatever to the enemy, so it takes skill out of the equation. These guys are a piece of fucking shit, ladies and gentlemen. It's the spitter enemies. If it's just you and the spitter enemy, then it's pretty damn easy to... I just stomped on a baby, ladies and gentlemen. I never thought I'd say that. Damn. Yeah, it's pretty easy to avoid that particular attack, but if there's other enemies in the vicinity, then it can become quite troublesome. Not done a speedrun of this game yet, just for fun. And I've not done a no upgrade run. Hey, that rhymed. That'll probably be my next 2 playthroughs of the game that I do in the future. And this is a mechanic in the game where you can got these kind of power circuit breakers here, and you can reroute power. I appreciate them. Speak about them later on in the game when they actually will change how you have to approach gameplay situations. That scared the shit out of me as well. Something this game does tend to do, and I notice it when I play the game, is it drops credits in 100. Like, here's 100 credits. And it does it a lot. The original game never did that. I don't really know what that proves, but this room is insanely dark, and we take a bit of damage. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, the gameplay does get better after Chapter 1. Now, I think I take a bit of damage here from the splashback of this. Let's have a look. Should I take damage there? I don't think I should. Let's see what happens. Yeah, now that is absolute bullshit, is it not? I think it is, to be honest. I was not happy. But yeah, when the enemies spawn in this game, sometimes, like, where does he come from? Whoa, where is he? I'm assuming they did this on purpose, but the first game wasn't any less intimidating on your first playthrough by knowing where the enemies spawn from. I don't know if this is just me. Maybe people disagree with me with this particular instance. If you do, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. You think I'm talking fucking shite? But I think I'm going to mention this in the opening video of the walkthrough. Because it's not what you would anticipate to hear in a walkthrough, which is permadeath. But we actually do die in this playthrough, and I'm not going to edit it out. I'm keeping it in the walkthrough. It's right at the end of the game. So had I accepted death, we'd have lost everything, 8 hours of progress. Well, if it's a legit death, I'd have kept it in. But it wasn't a legit death, ladies and gentlemen. It was bullshit. Obviously, when you do a permadeath difficulty playthrough, if the game crashes, you could be screwed. If there are bugs and glitches, you know, fall through floors, for example, shit like that, the game will not save you. It's still going to fuck you over. That didn't happen, thankfully, which I was quite lucky at, because this game, since I've started playing this game, I've done a good, I don't know how many, maybe 5-6 playthroughs. That's a 5 playthroughs. It's crashed more times than Callisto by far. I think this game has crashed. Before this playthrough, I'd say 2 or 3 times per playthrough it was crashing. Callisto's crashed once in all my playthroughs of the game. Maybe it's just luck of the draw, I don't know. But here we go. I've turned the lights off to give the elevator power. It's a cool dynamic, and now it might be a cool dynamic, but Christ almighty, look how dark it is, man. But the thing is, I don't know what it is. Dead Space 2 was arguably darker than the first game. Look at this. Made of stone. Oh, you better believe I was angry there. Made of stone. It's like fucking stone roses, ladies and gentlemen. Get Ian Brown up in this shit. Forgot what I was saying now, but yeah, I hate enemies being made of stone when they're in slow-mo like that. Or just being made of stone entirely. I have indeed forgot what I was talking about now. Shame as well, because I was enjoying the tangent that I was on, but proper peanut brain, I've already forgot what the fuck I was on about. 10 more minutes of video number 1 to go, ladies and gentlemen, chapter 1. Just a little bit more bad gameplay. When we get out of this room, like I say, it does get better. That was damage as well! You see that? I took damage! Fucking about 20 feet from that explosion, mate. What are you on about? Oh! Look at that! I get damage there because I can't tell where he's coming from. But yeah, for anyone playing this game for the first time, I absolutely hate to say this in a survival horror game. I certainly didn't do it with Alan Wake 2 because the shooting was absolutely fine in that game. And this is on console as well with a controller, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But I think you needed to have the aim assist on in this game because of the way that the aiming acceleration is. And even if you lower it by default as much as possible, it's still really sensitive. Honestly, give it a go yourself on console. Tweak the sensitivity. It makes no sense. It's still very sensitive. So as we can see there, we've put a damage upgrade in the plasma cutter. HP as well for Isaac. Makes sense. For me personally, I like to use 4 weapons in this game, because I like the fact that the more weapons you have, the more possibilities and options you have in combat. I think it's quite simply more fun. I hate watching people play Dead Space 1 and 2 and just use the plasma cutter and nothing else on the first playthrough. But that, I guess, is an aspect of this game which I think they succeeded with. You do have to use a multitude of weapons. I think the game wants you to use the flamethrower. It wants you to use the weapons. Every weapon is serviceable in this game, regardless of my issues with the gameplay. Now, here's another issue, and you'll see when I'm angry by it, because I'll start punching things. Well, Isaac will. Unfortunately, there is a bit of downtime in this game, which there wasn't in the original. And I'm going to talk about that when we get there in a minute. But it happens across the whole of the game. Now, you don't lose much progress, but it's just downtime that's not necessary in my opinion. Now, I do believe there is a way to stop it by manipulating the use of the UI, heads-up display. I've seen a few speedrunners do it, but I don't exactly know how. Talk about it in a minute, like I said. Well, there we go. The tram's there. You definitely get less ammo in this game as well, by default. Compared to the original, definitely. And that's something else I obviously like. I know a decent amount of my subscribers are Dead Space fans from that Dead Space glitch video that I uploaded in late 2019, so, you know, hopefully this gets a decent amount of views. 40, 50 plus would be nice.
Quarantine lockdown was lifted, so you can get to the hangar. Comms are still down, though, so be ready for anything.
What's the plan?
You and Johnson fix up the Kellyan. We report to the bridge. Standard emergency protocol.
What? Protocol? Hammond, people are dying here.
And I'm not
Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Clerky boy's lashing out. I'm lashing out because I'm stuck in this room. It's on standby. Why is it on standby? Was it on standby in the original game? Nope. That happens the whole of the game. When there's dialogue, you can't move forward. The Dead Space 3 music in the background there. This music was played a lot in that game. But yeah, so damn frustrating. It stops you from going to the store as well. And going to the bench. But like I said, you can... I think it's listening to old audio like logs, if you will, from the heads-up display. Take a hit, son. Jesus. I can tell he's behind me. I still love the combat though, man. Just cutting those arms and legs off, stomping those motherfuckers out. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, all these security doors, you got security level 1, 2, and 3. And then the star doors as well, master security, if you will. We'll be going in nearly every one of them. I think I forget 1 or 2. I think it's upgrades to the flamethrower that I missed, but honestly, the flamethrower is so damn good. You don't need to max it out. You can actually rock out with every single weapon in this game. It makes no sense because your inventory is going to be too stacked, but if you want to have all your weapons in your inventory, you can. In the original, you can only hold 4 weapons at a time, but in this game, if you want like all 7 or 8 weapons, or however many there are, you damn well can. Let's get back to Johnston, the throwaway NPC. Hopefully she'll survive this madness. I reckon she will. Well, Clarky Boy's going to take his helmet off to have a look at this nonsense. What's going on here?
What have you got on you? Is that blood?
Haley, I need you to listen. The Ishimura's overrun with... they're fucking monsters. You didn't hear anything?
What? No, the comms are still out. Isaac...
We need the Kellyan fixed now. Got a damage report?
Yeah, it's there.
Holy shit! So we're going to be introduced to the leapers. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, here you're going to see a jump cut. Watch. Watch. I just want to explain what that is. Basically, I can only record 30 minutes of footage at a time because, for whatever reason, with my Elgato capture card, whilst using either the Elgato capture card itself, the software that they give you, or OBS, my gameplay crashes, and it's something that's been happening for years. I don't know why, but it's a piss take. I'm sick of it, and it only happens after over 30 minutes of footage, guaranteed. So these videos are every 30 minutes. That's how long I was recording for. Sometimes in the walkthrough you will see footage spliced up like that. I can assure you it's not me hiding anything like bad gameplay or deaths or anything. This is warts and all. I think the leapers are well balanced in this game. They're annoying, they're difficult, but they're not like they were in the second game where, oh my days, they're insane. You get them told, Hammond.
It's a prick. All the primary systems are locked down with the captain's codes.
So we find Captain Matthias. Track his rig.
Okay, here. Captain Benjamin Matthias. Location medical. Status deceased?
Yeah, anybody who knows my thoughts on the series will probably realise and know that I don't want a remake of the second game. It's pure perfection for me. I'll take it. If it's that or nothing, I'll take it, but I prefer a fourth game. But I don't think there will be. You know, yeah, I'm saying that, and I never thought there'd even be a remake of this, but you know, the blueprints of the original are all in this game, of course. They made some nice additions, but it's a very faithful remake overall. You know, as opposed to something like Resident Evil 4 Remake, where Capcom always add more differences to the game, for better or for worse. Here's the first story, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get the level 2 suit straight away. The suits in this game, obviously, I was always going to talk about pros and cons of the remake compared to the original here in this walkthrough. I think the suits look worse in this game, and I think they don't look that different, whereas in the first game, you can easily tell what's different about the suit. You kind of can still in this game, but it's more nuanced and it's not as interesting. IMO. Now, of course, in the original game, you got the line gun from the store here. You got the pulse rifle from the store at this point, and then you picked up the schematics for the weapons. In this game, you just pick the weapon up, and I prefer that, I must admit, because if you give the gun to the player, they're more likely to use it, whereas if they've got to spend money on it, and in the original game I think some weapons were more expensive than others, even though the price didn't necessarily make sense. Like the line gun might be cheap, for example, when it's amazing. Something like that. People wouldn't use it, but it is interesting that, for example, the force gun, you get it in Chapter 6. It's quite late, that. It's halfway through the game. But it's just the decision the devs came to. They just thought, yep, let's give them the force gun last. After the pulse rifle, you know, it's the I think it's the Ripper, then the flamethrower, contact beam, force gun, I think. I missed that one there, I don't know.
Security clearance required.
Now, the video's ending soon, ladies and gentlemen, so I've got to wrap this up, but I missed the beam. I really wish this game had the beam where it told you where to go, and you could actually go to the master doors. I was going to speak about more about that in Chapter 2. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.